wants to tame me. You can't catch me on the run, cause I'm gone, yeah. I blaze trails, set fire to what's behind me. No, I'm never looking back, I'm on the run. I could only ever be what I'm made to be. It feels good when I'm living on the edge. Watch me now, roll like thunder, gonna stake the ground. Can't stop me now, I don't give up and I won't back down. I'm a force of nature, can't be contained. I got lightning running all through my veins. Watch me now, watch me now.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Milam. I'm from Canova, West Virginia. When I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Par-Mar store.
We have that gold and blue pride at your local Par-Mar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar rewards card. Food, gas, groceries, and more. We are gold and blue proud, and we are Par-Mar stores.
If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Law offices of Mark Plants and Kevin Davis. First line of defense. Buzzballs, ready-to-drink cocktails. #1 single-serve premix brand in the U.S. Buzzballs, have a ball. And hello and welcome to the Duquesne Dukes Breakdown here on the WolfMan's Call, where the truth is always part of the call. I hope you're doing well. We're a day away from the second game of the 2023 season. We have a lot planned for you today. We're going to have cover 2 data. Jeff Davies is going to come on very soon here shortly, and he's going to give you all kinds of stat information. You know what? Hey, we're not giving any advice about betting, but you better listen if you're interested in all that. And, of course, we're going to have the stats, WVU. We're going to have Duquesne breaking that down. We had on Tad Morey from the Duquesne Radio Network yesterday giving us the breakdown. And we're just covering it all, man. And we're going to do a little bit of film, again, of that Penn State game to show you what I think the Mountaineers need to improve in and what they improve in and what they need to get rid of. That's for sure. And hello, how we going today? Kelly McCourt, what's up, man? How you doing? Joey Foster, yeah, I see you. All very good. Hey, and guess what? I've just been told by management, that we have more room for sponsorship. I don't know. I thought we were doing pretty good on sponsors, but I've been told we have more room to sponsor. So if you want, man, you can come to Wolfman's Call at gmail.com. Wolfman's Call at Gmail. If you want to sponsor, listen, I'll kill it for you, man. We already know that. There's no doubt about that. So that's awesome there. And speaking of that, we got to just jump our QR codes out there. I do this for Frank Fuhrer. It's the sports column right there. If you want to go ahead and publish your own articles, you can do it for free. The sports column, they'll do it for you. If you're just young and you're trying to get into business, man, this is what you want to do. The sports column right there, QR. And then, of course, Pallet mini batteries. Oh, the battery. Hey, you know what? If you go green, you're going to save green, man. The last battery, Pallet mini, rechargeable batteries, right? And then you have this, Artisan Grange Company. Oh, easier for a hemp dipper. AGC, do it that way. Yeah, wolfmandip.com. You can buy it at Par-Mar stores, our #1 sponsor. And go ahead and do that. And then, of course, Johnny Campbell, former offensive lineman, united in purpose, bold in strength. United, we stand. All right, that is cool. You can't say that sucks because it doesn't, man. That is so cool. So with all that being said, I want to get right to this. I want to get into this breakdown. There's a lot to cover here with this Cover 2 data. And use cover2data.com. And this is just going to be the tip of the iceberg. You can go ahead and get into what they call Substack, where it delivers you any P5 conference and game you want. I'm going to let Jeff here go ahead and talk about that, but he's the one that's going to tell you the truth. But I love this. This was like huge last week, and it was about last year's stats. Even though he's going to tell you transfer portal changes stuff and all that, it was really down to the line, came really close. So with that being said, Jeff Davies, hello and welcome to the WolfMan's Call.
Hey, Wolfman, what's up? Appreciate you having me again. How's it going?
I'm doing great. You know, the cool thing is we looked at the lines of last year, and we're talking about this Penn State game, and the offensive line, he said, boy, I tell you, they could really run the ball for West Virginia. And you know what? They did run the ball for West Virginia. And you said the West Virginia secondary didn't look so strong. And again, they didn't. So they have to do some things to improve. But the line shows that they have a strong offensive line. You know, let's talk about it, man. What do you want to get into first?
You know, like you hit on earlier, you know, we were using last year's stats. So now we have week one stats to kind of, you know, dig into and, you know, really as the year goes on, the stats will get better and kind of more encompassing as it relates to what's happening this year. You know, I definitely think that, you know, you take the portal and all the changes that are happening to teams. It was tough, right? Week one to use last year's stats, yes. But I thought we did a pretty good job, pretty consistent with the WVU game, pretty consistent on our call for Florida State as well as the Utah-Florida game. So I was pretty happy with what the data kind of indicated.
Yeah, you know, I was watching it and checking out the numbers. And the only thing that didn't jive, that was a good sign from last year that Penn State was the Penn State havoc rate, which was them getting interceptions. And although they did sack 3 times, but their havoc rate, and that was something that you could look at that as a Mountaineer and say, hey, that's pretty cool because you know what, you did a good job, Garrett Green and all that. So again, there's so many ways to look at these stats, but the idea is this. You came right down to the line about the covering. Everybody knows what happened in the last 6 seconds of the game, but it was right there. Again, that was off of last year's stats. I think it's going to get even tighter as we move on.
For sure. What you have there on your screen, just to jump right in, is the AP Top 25. And what we did was line up some of the advanced stats after week one compared to the pollster rankings. And, you know, as I look at that, maybe 4 teams that stand out that are perhaps a little bit underranked would be Tennessee, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Oklahoma based on their week one, results. I will say as a qualifier that the advanced stats don't necessarily take strength of schedule into consideration. But, when you look at like a net success rate, which is basically how efficient is your offense versus how efficient is your defense in stopping the opposing offense, the 4 teams that I highlighted there are, at the top of the list of that after week one and kind of mid to low range in ranking. So that's why I think they look underranked. We'll see how that plays out over the next, few weeks. Maybe from an over ranking just based on stats, a Utah perhaps. LSU looked really bad, not only in that game, but really every statistic looks bad. I'm not sure they hold their ranking, the rest of the year.
Really? Okay.
But for the most part, the stats line up with what the rankings show.
Yep. Okay. Very cool. We can move on. And we get right here. Betline Blitz, week 2. All right. What's this now? This looks really cool to me. I love the dots. I love the lines and the bars. But sometimes I don't always get it. And I'm relying on you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what we're showing here is basically a regression. So we're looking at what the spread is versus what the net PPA is. So PPA is predicted points added. It's a metric of how explosive or how efficient your offenses are. Yes. And you kind of compare the offense versus the defense as well. And then, compare it, at the team level and then compare it across teams basically. So what this highlights is if you're above that regression line, you should probably be giving more points. And if you're below that regression line, you should be getting more points. So a game to me, for example, that stands out here would be like the Oregon, Texas Tech. I like Oregon in that just based on the advanced stats after 1 week. This data would suggest, that line's too low, basically. You can kind of look at the other names on this list where, anything above this, like I said, should be giving more points. I'm a Syracuse fan. I'll say that. I like Syracuse this week as well. And then if you go to the next slide is very similar. That's success rate versus the spread as well. And, similarly, Oregon State, Texas Tech really stands out. UCF stands out like them this week.
All right.
Yeah. And if you could go to the next slide too, what we're doing here, and then we'll get into kind of more detail on the games. The next slide is the over under versus combined PPA. So it's basically like how efficient are your two offenses combined relative to what the over under looks like.
Right.
And on this one, what really stands out to me is this Pittsburgh Cincinnati game based on how those two teams played in the first week. Both the offenses looked really good. And here we are at, kind of 45-point over under. I would take the over on that game, just based on, all of the data, all of the games that we're showing here. That looks like the most attractive over bet, so we'll see how that plays out.
So the Wolfman's call saying is we want Pittsburgh and Cincinnati on the over. Again, is that you? It's about you, but I'm making the call. And if I was doing this, I'm going with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati on the over. All right, there we go. I've said it.
There you go. So we'll see what happens in that game. Like I said, the stats line up that both those offenses are pretty solid after 1 week.
And what about Ole Miss there, right?
Yeah, Ole Miss too. I mean, Ole Miss looked really good, statistically, both offensively and defensively. They look like a solid bet as well from, take the over, in that game as well. Each one of these data points is the, combined game, of course, so an Ole Miss looks good. Houston, again, they played a pretty tough defensive team last week. So after week one, it would suggest taking the under on the Houston Rice game. We'll see how that plays out. The data would also suggest that game should be pretty tight. But, Houston didn't look very good in week one. I think they only put up 14 points versus UT San Antonio. And we had talked about that game, too, that it should be a close game based on the data. I think it was a 3-point game.
You totally said that. I totally remember that. And it was like, yeah, man, when is Dana Holgerson's offense 17? It's just, it doesn't happen, right? All
right. Exactly. So that, that was, again, consistent with what we had talked about last week. So feel pretty good about like directionally the calls that we're making. And, again, we'll start to track this stuff and see how accurate we are. But, it's a different way to look at data, again, to hit on some of this stuff, success rate, what percentage of plays do you get at least 50% on first down of yards, at least 70% of remaining downs on second down, and then a first down on third or fourth down. And you can track that both offensively and defensively. So you can imagine, teams that have a high offensive success rate, low defensive success rate are often the best teams, right? So, all this stuff will start to triangulate for sure.
Okay.
So then what we do is look at, each conference and we give summary lines. And what we do on the right side is, we're basically sorting these things based on the net success rates across teams and net PPA, again, predicted points added across both teams. And, this sort order, it really should be like highest line to lowest, highest spread, or line to lowest based on this ranking. So we try to identify things that stand out. And, on this, like I said, I think Syracuse, they played Colgate, so I'll acknowledge Colgate's not any good, but Syracuse had the best defensive success rate in all of Power 5 football last week. Their offense looked really good. They were, top 5 on a net success basis. I think the defense is underrated based on knowing that team myself. And, so I'd take Syracuse and giving the points this week. Miami, again, it's really tough to, know after 1 week. But if you look at the advanced stats here, Miami should be giving points, not getting points. So I like a Miami over Texas A&M. I know there's a lot of Texas A&M fans out there this year. And then a Virginia Tech, Purdue. I like Virginia Tech in this game. It's going to be a close game. All the stats line up. But I think, at home, given 2.5. Their defense looked really good statistically in week 1.
I got you. All right.
All right, so let's jump to Big Ten. The big game in the Big Ten this week is Nebraska, Colorado. See what they if they're for real or not. I do like Colorado in this game. The statistics, line up that, they're pretty even, right? So if you look at the 2 far right columns, Nebraska's worse in one, they're better in one.
Yeah.
But Colorado looked really, really good statistically, offensively, as we all know. Their defense didn't look great, but I do think that, just the passing game looks so tough. I'm not sure Nebraska can keep up with the scoring, quite frankly.
So 59 over under. I mean, that's
yeah. I'd probably take the under in, quite frankly. But I do see Colorado putting some points up, just based on the statistics. They had about a 65%, pass success rate, which is about as good as it gets, basically.
Wow, he's an NFL guy. He's just an NFL quarterback, and they got the proper skill. We know that. Absolutely.
For sure. The Iowa State game, the next one here that we have highlighted, I like Iowa State in this one. Again, taking kind of opposite side of consensus on this. Statistics line up that it should be a close game, but at home for Iowa State, I like them in that one.
Okay.
We already hit on Purdue, Virginia Tech, and then tonight's game, the Illinois-Kansas game. I'm gonna, I'll show you this in the one pagers, but Illinois looked really bad defensively last week and gave up some good chunk yardage on runs. Illinois had one of the best defenses of the last 10 years statistically last year. So I think that was a bit of an outlier. I expect the defense to perform better this week. So I think Kansas again is a popular pick, but just kind of going to take an outlier here and call it Illinois on that game.
Okay, so you would take Illinois in 3.
You got it. Get in the 3 for sure.
All right.
And that is, like I said, I think an anti-consensus pick. So we get into the Big 12, and like I said, I like UCF here. UCF just looks spectacular. Boise's tough on that blue field at home, no doubt about it. But statistically, UCF just looks really good, both offensively and defensively. The Baylor-Utah game, another one that kind of feels like a trap game for some reason. The line feels like it should be bigger, and certainly the statistics would suggest that Baylor should be getting more than 7.5 points. I mean, it's probably a must-win game for Baylor. They don't want to start 0-2, but I still take Utah given the 7.5 here.
Okay,
and then we already hit on Iowa State, Iowa in the prior one. So if we jump to the Pac-12, I already mentioned Oregon. Just Oregon looked really, really good, both offensively and defensively. So I'd take Oregon in this. Again, another must-win for Texas Tech because they don't want to start 0-2. But I like Oregon statistically in that game. Again, it's one that just really stands out. The line should be larger. So you're kind of wondering what you're missing, but I don't think we're missing anything there with the advanced data.
Okay.
We hit on Utah, Baylor. We hit on Colorado, Nebraska, and then Stanford, USC. I'd take USC. USC. I think this one. I think it's going to be pretty close. Actually, I shouldn't say pretty close. Pretty close to the line. So I'd probably take Stanford, getting the 29 points. It's a rivalry. If you look at these two teams. They play each other years, for decades, right? So I think just based on the statistics, I take Stanford in the 29 in that one.
Hey, Jeff, this is the last time USC is going to play Stanford since the late 1800s.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm coming from. The stats,
you know what I mean?
The stats you got to kind of throw out the window a little bit when a rivalry like that ends, and I think it's closer than, what the statistics ultimately end up telling you. That's a bit of a gut call, of course.
Absolutely.
And then in the SEC, you have this big game, obviously the Alabama-Texas big game of the week. Statistically, Alabama should win that game. I'm in Texas, right? And there's a lot of Texas fans here and a lot of Longhorn fans around me, and I'm still not a believer that they're back. They're better, don't get me wrong, but Texas seems like more talk than reality to me, quite frankly. So I take Alabama given 7 in that game. In the Vanderbilt-Wake game, I like Vanderbilt, keep it within 10 there. So Wake's given 10, looks pretty even statistically. And then the last one on this page is really, Texas, Miami. And we already talked about that one. I like Miami in that game.
Hey, Jeff, Ed, I get all these Substack deliveries of all the games. I mean, just tell us a little bit about that, because people don't understand unless you go ahead. You can go to your website, cover2data.com, and you can see that. But until you sign up, and you get so much information, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really a platform. Substack's a publishing platform, so there's a lot of journalists that have moved to that. So what we did was create, really the Power 5 conference. You can sign up for any team, get their, game summaries, game previews, season stats, all advanced stats, high-end data visualizations. And then it's basically split out by conference, right? So if you sign up at the conference level, you're also going to get, conference offensive stats, conference defensive stats, the top 25 work that we do, the betting line work that we do, the player stats. Much of that content's free. We will try to monetize at some point the team stuff, not currently doing that, but our hope is to build out, a network of really newsletters and across Power 5, and then maybe expand beyond that. And, potentially into NFL and fantasy as well, where the statistics, whether you're just a, high-end fan, a rabid fan, whether you're better or whether you're an analyst like yourself, you just are more informed on your teams and the games.
And I like making the call.
Yeah. And like I said, and you already mentioned it, but I'll mention it again, www.cover2data.com. Go check it out. It's free to sign up for.
All right. Now, am I supposed to say data or data?
I guess it depends on where you're coming from, right? So they both work for me for sure.
Okay.
So you got the Miami, Texas A&M, a game up there, the matchup up there, and maybe if I just go left to right, the offensive stats real quick. If you look at PPA, that's basically a measure of. We talked about this last week. You can probabilistically say based on down distance and what yard line you're on, what the predicted points are from that spot and that down and distance. Yeah. And so that's a measurement of explosiveness and efficiency. The advanced data just tracks what percentage of your plays are runs versus pass, how successful you are on those, how many yards you attribute to your line, so how good is your line really. So if you look at this data, right, Miami's offense across the board, as we highlighted, is better than Texas A&M's on every statistic. Havoc rate, offensive havoc rate is, how much, havoc does your line give up, or how much is your quarterback throwing into pressure and, tip passes and interceptions. And again, Miami looks great there. They basically gave up no havoc last week, their front seven or their, or quarterback thrown into the DBs. So across the board on every offensive statistic, Miami looks better. And then you can do the same thing defensively, right? And Miami's better on 4 out of 5. So that's why it leads me to say, why not take Miami in this game, getting the points here. They look better on all metrics.
All right. I make the call. It's going to be Miami. All right. Take the 4.5 with it, right?
There you go.
All right.
There you go. So, yeah. Oh, I got a typo on this next one. It says Miami. It should say, I take Notre Dame in this game. Notre Dame just looks really good to me. I think it's going to be, a tough game. I think it's, NC State's going to be competitive. But if you look at what I highlighted there, what I highlighted was the defensive success rate. And Notre Dame just looks, spectacular from a pass success rate. They're, 16% is probably the top in the country currently. So NC State, did rush the ball 63% of the time last game. But if they try to pass against Notre Dame, I don't think it's going to be very successful. So we'll kind of see what happens there. Notre Dame just looks really solid so far after 2 games. I like Notre Dame there.
Okay, so Notre Dame getting 7, right?
Notre Dame's giving 7. Yeah, giving 7.
Giving. Listen, all right, folks. I'm making these calls. You can hold me accountable here. I'm telling you. I'm digging this. All right, next one.
We got Pittsburgh, Cincy, and the call on this one was just the over, really.
Okay.
And, again, if you look at the PPA rates, if you look at the success rates offensively, both for Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they both looked really good in week one. So it stands out relative to the rest of the over-unders this week. Two really good, two really efficient offenses, at least in the first week. Again, and their opponents may not have been great, but they did what they should have done against those opponents. So,
That's right.
with the over-unders at 45.5 last we checked, and, we like the over there.
All right. Again, making the over call with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Totally digging it. Let's keep it rolling, man.
Syracuse, next one. Again, just some backdrop. I grew up in Syracuse, New York, or just north of, so I'm a diehard Syracuse fan. So I've been some rough years up there, but I think Dino's going to turn it around this year. And like I mentioned earlier, Syracuse had the best defensive success rate of any Power 5 team this year. They're a lot deeper than they've been over the last number of years. I think that's going to help them this year. Western Michigan's not a horrible team, but I think they get given 24 at home. The offense looks really good and the defense looks really good. So I think this is a bit more of a blowout than that 24 points. So I take Syracuse here.
So you're taking a while. Bet 24. All right, that's
yeah, a little bit of a homer bet there, but I'm gonna live and die with my squad for sure.
All right, I got Q's down. You got it. 24. Yeah. All right.
There you go. And then next one's Virginia Tech. I think I mentioned I like Virginia Tech in this one, and I like the over in this one as well. And the reason I like the over is what I've highlighted here is both of the teams, weren't very good defensively. Virginia Tech's rush defense looked really bad, and Purdue's pass defense looked really bad. So with a 46-point over/under, I figured, if the defenses are as bad as they looked in week one, we should take the over there.
All right, Virginia Tech, Purdue. All right, I'm doing it, man. I'm going to the over. All right, there you go.
Yeah, and then next game's Illinois, Kansas, and like I said, this one really does look like Illinois should. You should be taking Kansas. I'll just be honest. The data lines up that you should take Kansas in this game, but knowing the data from last year and knowing just how good Illinois' both offensive and defensive lines were last year, I'm just going to throw kind of week one out as an anomaly and take a non-consensus bet and take Illinois in this game here.
Okay.
Didn't highlight anything on the data, but if you look at the rush success rate, Illinois' opponent last week was at 50% success. So that's a really poor kind of statistic for what was the best. Illinois last year was one of the best defenses over the last 10 years from an advanced statistic perspective.
Well, I'm going to tell you. All right, so now you're taking Illinois with the 3. I'm taking Kansas, right? This is where we draw the line right here.
There you go.
We'll make sure we check this out.
There you go. It's gonna keep us honest for sure. It's gonna keep us honest.
Very good.
Next one's Iowa State. What's funny is I looked at some of the data that we pulled together. One of the things we pulled together for all the matchups is historical.
I missed the Iowa State one, man.
Do you have Iowa State in there?
No, I don't. I must have missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry about it. What do you got up there for me? Nebraska?
Yeah.
Nebraska, we talked about this. Nebraska, I like Colorado here. But again, this is not as maybe, straightforward as it looks, right? Colorado looked spectacular. But some of the things that stand out is, Colorado defense really doesn't look good, all that good statistically. So their net success rate is relatively low for everybody, kind of jumping on the bandwagon already. The PPA and success rate are giving conflicting signals on who should win this game. Lines up with a pretty close line, right, at 3 points. But if you look at the success rate that Colorado had passing, and you look at Nebraska's pass success rate, I think Colorado can have some success passing the ball against Nebraska. So if that's the case, I'm just going to take kind of Colorado giving the 3 points there.
When you look at Nebraska's offense, what do you these numbers? Okay, rush rate 60%. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, so 60% of their plays are rushes, right? So they're a run-heavy team.
yes.
Rush success rate, you can see, they're a much better rushing team than Colorado was against TCU. 20 points better of kind of success, right?
Yeah.
Nebraska really didn't have much success passing the ball, right? Colorado's, pass rate, excuse me, they passed at 34% versus Colorado. 2/3 of their plays were passing plays, and you can see, again, kind of Colorado is about 20 points higher, 42% to 62% of success rate on passing. So Nebraska is a good running team, doesn't look so good passing the ball. Colorado is not a very good running team, but looked really good passing the ball. So I'm just going to lean to, hey, passing is more explosive. I think they'll be able to score a few more points than a run-heavy team, and that's why I'd take Colorado in this game.
Well, I agree with you. I'm taking Colorado right with you there. Very good.
Cool.
Next one's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, again, this one's a tough one for me. If you look at the statistics and what we do on these one-pagers, a little harder to see on this one, but we, show all the team logos where they, whoever has the better metric basically across those offensive and defensive metrics, that's what those logos are there for. So if you look at this one, it's pretty mixed, right? Washington State and Wisconsin are pretty mixed across the board, which tells me it should be a pretty close game. The PPA and the success rate are both kind of, mixed and conflicting. They don't signal one team's better than the other. So here I take Washington State getting the 6 points. Just think it's going to be a pretty close game.
Getting 6 points, but even though it's at Whiskey, right? Or
this is at Washington State, I believe.
Oh, this is all right. Well, yeah. Have you ever been there? Woo!
I have not.
That's a tough one. Pullman, yeah. All right, here we go. Next one, very good. I'm gonna go with you on that one as well. Going there. All right, go ahead. Next one, Baylor.
So Baylor, Utah's the next one. Again, look at the logos here, right? It's of the 10 to 15 different metrics. It's kind of 12 out of 15 favor Utah. The success rate, the PPA, everything favors Utah in this matchup. Baylor really didn't look good running the ball at all. Utah, tough matchup and has better statistics than, Baylor in their North Texas matchup, I guess. So, everything here, it's a head scratcher that the line's only 7.5. So, I'm leaning Utah here.
You're going to take Utah. All right. Yeah. You know what? Because the quarterback's still hurt, right, for Baylor?
That's a good question. I did not check that before jumping on.
I believe he is. So go with that. Okay, go to Houston now.
Yeah, Houston, again, don't have strong conviction in this call, to be honest with you. But, Houston did not look good in that last game. The stats line up that this should be a closer than 10-point game. It's an in-town rivalry, right? These two, I'm in Houston myself, right? These two schools are only a few miles apart. So, it's, again, kind of non-consensus call that Rice keeps this game close. But based on the statistics, it looks like they could. So I'd take Rice in this game.
Rice. All right.
And I hate to do that. Actually, I have one of the kids that I got a couple kids. The high school we went to, Matthew Golden is a receiver there at Houston. He used to come over to our house all the time, so I'm a big fan of Matthew. But
well, I'm going to go with Houston on this because I don't bet against data.
There you go.
I really don't because every time I do, I get screwed. Oh,
what's
the last one is Texas here.
Yeah, last one's Texas. So hit on this. Again, you look at these statistics, right? It's really, I don't know, what is that? Again, kind of 12 of 15 statistics favor Alabama. Texas, to me, is still a bit of a show me story. So yeah. I'm gonna take Bama here. It's in Bama. As you know, right? You're getting 3 points, for being at home. So kind of a net 4 point. Line here with as good as Alabama looks, from a statistic perspective relative to Texas, I'd take Bama here.
Wow. That is cool, man. Hey, you can't. I'm not going to bet against Saban. I mean, he's like 24-2 or whatever against former coaches. Bama, Texas is coming up, but they're not there yet. All right. So I got that. All right, cool. What else you got? Anything else good for the cause?
I mean, given your like Big 12 focus, I'm just looking at some of my Big 12 stats here, and what kind of the 4 or 5 best teams, just so coming out of the first week on a net success rate basis, that would be Oklahoma, UCF, Kansas State, Kansas, and Cincinnati. Texas is under those 5 teams from a net success after 1 week. So just kind of additional data to highlight that maybe they're being viewed too positively after that first week.
All right, we got a question for you, Jeff, from Chile. Well, what do you think the line should be in the backyard brawl? Isn't that too soon right now?
Yeah, I don't have a view on that. I mean, it's going to be much easier to call that once we have additional data, right? So it's tough after 1 week to make that call, but give us a couple more weeks and we'll start to formulate a view on that for you for sure. The unfortunate thing is that West Virginia had to, we didn't get West Virginia data last week. So we had the Penn State, West Virginia game and the Georgia Tech, Louisville game. For whatever reason, we didn't get that data.
Well, here we go. So check this out. Data hurts my head. Well, that's why you just got to listen to who's going to make the call. You got to make the call and say, hey, just go with that so you don't have to worry about the data. That's what you get from the WolfMan's call, right?
All right. You're right, man. You're right. Wolfman and Rain Man here bringing you the data.
I'll tell you what, you definitely got the data. I'm going to start calling it data just for you now. All right. So here we go. We got, anyone else here? I don't see anything else going here. All right, man. Well, listen, I marked it down. The only split I took from you was the Kansas game, right? Was that Kansas State or Kansas?
Yeah, I think that was Illinois, Kansas. You took Kansas, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So the only difference is I'm taking Kansas because I'll tell you that offense is a screwball, and they know how to work that offense there. West Virginia got hurt on it really bad last year, so we'll go with that. All right. Hey, Jeff, thanks. We got you down, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. I love Cover 2 Data. Cover2data.com, right?
Yeah, check us out, www.cover2data.com.
And if you go and you get that Substack, you're going to get, I'm signed up for everything, of course, because I'm just a nut. All right, but you can sign up for just one team to get their game. You can do a WVU just to get their game summaries, right? And everything, one page betting lines, all of that, and it changes, every 15, 20 minutes during the week?
Yeah, betting lines are updated kind of pretty frequently. And then the data, you're going to get stuff every day. You've signed up, you're getting data every day. You're getting the team data, you're getting conference data, you're getting the betting data. So you're going to get emails every week, every day of the week, really, with us. All
right. Very cool, man. All right.
Last thing I'd say is go Steelers this week, too. Let's get that W. So.
Well, when are we going to start getting the NFL stuff?
I mean, that's kind of stage 2 for us. We think there's a market for the fantasy football people out there. So, advanced data for that, I think is the next stage for Cover 2. But I'm a diehard Steeler fan. I think everybody's just sleeping on the Steelers. I think they're picked last in the NFC. I mean, and their conference is ridiculously tough this year, but I think the defense is going to be good as always, and the offense is back this year. So we'll see what happens.
I do not disagree, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll be talking to you later on, all right?
All right, take care. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too, brother. All right, Jeff Davies, cover2data.com. I'll tell you what, he just went through this whole thing and picked it for you, and you can look at these one-page bettors. Sign up, man. Get your information. I'm telling you, all right? He's giving you lines, listen, there's nothing that – all right, it's perfect. All right, and things happen. We all know that. But if you're going to go with the data, you're going to go with the odds. It's called analytics. And it's got a lot of truth to it. As the more we move into the season, the truer those analytics will be. More than just a sample of last year's, more than just a sample of one game where you go against Penn State. And then next week you're going against Duquesne. You might have to balance that out, right? Very cool. I am fired up about that, man. That was so cool. He just went through and told you what he likes. I mean, again, you can't hold him to it. You can't hold me to it, man. But that is just cool. And so let's go ahead and let's speak about this right here. And this is the game breakdown. And this is the law offices of Mark Plants and Kevin P. Davis, game day breakdown. Of course, it's Parmar Stores. Buzz Balls is the new one for this month. I love it. And again, I'm telling you, if you want to sponsor on the WolfMan's Call, I got it all. I got it, man, for you. It's funny because I was like sitting there and they're telling me like, hey, man, you got all this room to sponsor this, sponsor that. I'm like, I don't know. So whatever. All right, if you want to, that's fine. If you don't, we're doing good. We're smashing it, man. And you got to smash those like buttons, right? Because you're going to get now the best breakdown of WVU. And the reason why we're not going to break down Duquesne WVU and the numbers, man, Vegas doesn't even have a line on it. They don't even have a line on it, so neither am I. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look here, just a brief look at what the Mountaineers did last week with Penn State. So as we go along here, you go ahead and you look at this, and you see it, man, is 146, 3.6 yards. Okay, that's with that, you see it 1627, 162. So you're looking at 308 yards. Now, 3.6 yards per rush, of course, that does take into the 3 sacks. That was minus 17 that Garrett took there, and probably Nico with that. But if you go ahead, you get 308 yards. Now you look at this for the defense, 146. They still gave up 4.2 yards. Now you can say that's a win with that offensive line. You can say that's a win with just 4.2 yards when they probably averaged about 5.6 last year. So again, all right, I'll take that and say that that's cool. How about this passing defense? That is not a win. 3 TDs given up. All right, glad. I'm happy that Garrett Green didn't have any turnovers. The running backs didn't have any turnovers because ball security is number one. So that's a huge sign. Ball security at Penn State, huge sign of, you got a chance if you don't turn the ball over. So, again, that's one of the stats that jumped out at me for coming up for this future games of the season. If you look at this total defense, 478 to 308. Not as close as people want to make it, not as much of a moral victory as people want to say it is. I don't care. 500 yards, 38 points is not a moral victory. Scoring 7 points for the first 56 minutes in a game is not a moral victory, even though it's at Penn State. Lots of things to improve upon. And as we look here, now, this is what I want to get, game-by-game starters. And so I see this, and I'm looking here. You got in the IR, you got Estrellan Davis, you got Devin Carter. Boy, 6 receptions, 90 yards. I would like to see him get out there more and do that. And, you can go down the line, and you can see Cortez Bram. He's the wide receiver. He needs to get involved more. What he's doing. I look at Cole Taylor. Cole Taylor can really be something special this year, especially to a Garrett Green at 6'7", long arms, hot reads. I'm going to show it to you a little bit on the film. Check him out. He's a hot read guy, 6'7". I don't care if there's a safety on his back. He's big enough to, if you put the ball over here in front of him, not behind him, but he can make that call. And you might get an interference call if he's on that back. So if it's a hot read and someone's coming out and you got blitz coming, throw the ball, man. Go take your shot right there. As long as he's not on the inside, obviously you got to make good choices as a quarterback. But Gigi, man, go ahead and throw it. I'm cool with that, and I'll show that to you in a little bit. And then, they said they had Jalen Anderson started the game, but I saw the first run was C.J. Donaldson. So I don't know. Jalen Anderson was in the first series. I saw that. And his new number is 0. Now we go to the defense here, and I'm seeing this here. You got the Bandit, they're Bartlett, 15 games. You got Lockhart, Vestinarian, and Martin. Sean Martin. Listen, I'll tell you, if you want to get fired up and you want to see Eddie played good, I like him. Lockhart, I'm not a total believer yet, but I'm getting there. All right, big man wouldn't run down anything last year. I saw him playing hard. So, need another game, need another show me. But I know Vestinarian's as tough as nails. He'll run down anything. Sean Martin, weak side linebacker, Lathan, right? Freshman, he started. Then he got Koba, 13 tackles. Really impressive. You got Wilson Lamp at left corner. Burks did not have his best game by any means out there, free safety. And then you got Anthony Wilson, that cat safety. And if you looked at him, he had 5 tackles. I'm not sure about him yet, but then you got Hershey, right? And then you got Bishop at the right corner, which I think that these corners, if you're going to have Jacoby Smouse play more and Montre Miller, all right, if you get them, have them challenge these receivers. This week's the week to do so, to step up and challenge, maybe reroute a little bit, maybe not give so many free yardages, right? I think it's that opportunity for them to do so. And continue on here. And let's just look at this here, this breakdown, because I could get into serious Duke stuff, but, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, but let's look at this. 27 starts by Zach Frazier, and you see Thomas Remack at left guard, 6. He's getting up there, right? And then left tackle, you got Wyatt Milum at 12. All right, so he's got a whole season there now. At that, and right tackle, you got Nestor at 1 because he was guard, and he had 41 starts at the right guard. I will tell you, I was a little bit concerned about Big Dougie going over to right tackle because I think he's more of a guard than a tackle in the next level. But I think he went over there for the team, and I'm okay with it. So Garrett Green's got his 3rd start, very cool. Then you got C.J. Donaldson, who's got 1. All right, so he obviously that was just a misprint. And the last one, Cole Taylor got 1, and you look at the defense here, and you look at this. Lockhart, Dustin Aaron, 1 start apiece. That's all right. So they need more. They need more experience, more reps. All right, we need to get that going here. I'm telling you, Spear, McLaurin, what happened to Lance Dixon? Did he get in trouble? Why would you take a linebacker in the Minnesota game a couple of years ago? That was a will linebacker from Penn State now. Okay, Penn State. He didn't even start the game. Hershey McLaurin did. And Spear. Why is he a Spear when he's an inside backer? I don't get it. He had 2 tackles in the game against Penn State. He had 10 against Minnesota at the will linebacker spot. I don't understand. I mean, I know Lathan's there as I don't get it. We'll see what happens. But, all right, so look at all that. Very good. I'm going to get myself in trouble if I keep going. I will address it, though, if it does not get better. I will address it if it does not get better. All right, that's what I wanted to show you from this. The West Virginia defensive roster includes 14 freshmen, 10 redshirt freshmen, 1 sophomore, 8 redshirt sophomores, 7 juniors, 6 redshirt juniors, 2 seniors, 5 redshirt seniors, and 1 redshirt 5th year. That's a pretty young defense, too, in a lot of ways. That's a young defense, and when you have so much like that, the offense is kind of the same. But when you look at this and you see 19 defensive linemen, we have 19 defensive linemen for when you're running 3 of them. That seems like a lot. 11 backers, 3 spears, 9 cornerbacks, 7 safeties, 1 defensive back. I don't know what that means. How about this Koba? 13 tackles, 3rd one in a row. Oklahoma? Well, I guess it wasn't. Yeah, Oklahoma. But then there's Kansas State, right? I can't remember. But he's got like 13 game tackles. So he's there. He's active. He's a beast. I showed it to you on film during the week. The one time he came in and crushed the right guard for Penn State and got the QB hurry. Now, we didn't have enough QB hurries in my mind, but that was pretty impressive. How about Tommy? Tommy Wall. All right, he got his first sack there, transferred in from Kentucky. And you look at this offensive roster, you got 12 true freshmen, 12 redshirt freshmen, 1 sophomore, 9 redshirt sophomores, 7 juniors, 5 redshirt juniors, 3 seniors, and 3 redshirt seniors. It's not a very old. This is a young team overall. So you can look at that and say, hey, all right, so they fought hard. They fought well. That's the way you want to look at Penn State. And so they're going to get better. Well, this is the week to get better. Why? Because you just got up. All summer long, you've been hearing how Penn State's going to kill you. And these guys have heard it, and they built up, and they had a hard, rough camp, physical camp, right? But then, so they go and they play. The moment's not too big, so they go up there, and they don't get blown out by 59, all right? So now they feel, hey, you know what? I feel better about this, right? And you heard Neil Brown saying, I like this team and all that. Well, man, that's a big game, and it had been physical. I know it's a physical game, so you got to get back up now for the Dukes. This is your opportunity. And you heard Neil Brown with Tony Caridi earlier in the week. He said, hey, if you can't get up for 12 games, you're not worth it. All right, fine. But you cannot sit there and say it's not one high emotion. Going on national TV Saturday night opening week against the Penn State Nittany Lions, and then the next week they're on, ESPN Plus, and you're the Duquesne Dukes. You got to be controlled. So now this is where you need leadership. And that's why I went over this roster of offense and defense, because they're young. So the coaches got to be aware. Zach Frazier's got to be aware to make sure that they maintain their momentum, that there's not a letdown, that they don't fall asleep and start out slow. Because this guy right here, Jerry Schmidt, head coach of the Duquesne Dukes, 15 winning seasons out of 19. They beat Ohio a couple of years ago. They went undefeated 2 years ago. The 21-22 season. All right, the guys a couple times in the playoffs. The Duquesne Dukes, not telling you they're a powerhouse, but I'm telling you, this guy knows football, this coach, and he knows he's going to have a team that's pretty disciplined. So what I'm saying is, don't stub your toe, Mountaineers. Make sure you're up. Make sure you're ready to go. And let me see here. We got anything. CJ Donaldson, man, I'll tell you, hey, CJ, man, all right, even with the weight gain that I was worried about him. I was worried he's a little tight. You know what I mean? Because he looks just like a yoked dude. He looked pretty darn good, man. I'll tell you, especially behind that offensive line. And also, when we see that, I read down here, Garrett Green scores his 10th career rushing touchdown. That was a cool read zone. I don't believe you saw a read zone where he pulled it. To that point. Now, I didn't go back and study every play, so I can't say that he didn't pull it. I can't remember that it was a good decision or a bad decision. I'm not saying any of that. That was a great decision on that touchdown play. So Garrett Green pulling that on that read zone, great decision. Let's go to the next one. All right, just quick stats so you all can remember this, right? Devin Carter in receiving, he had 90 yards on 6 receptions. Very nice. Jalen Anderson, 2 receptions. Okay, so you see this? 6 to 2 to 2 to 2. All right? That's not, just the stats will tell you. We talked about 30 minutes of data, right? And that's not good enough. All right, Garrett Green, 16 to 27, 59%. I want to see in the 60s. He's never hit that 60s yet. So what I should suggest is I want to see them move the pocket around. Again, you have to understand what I'm saying about moving the pocket. I'm going to keep saying it. I want to help Garrett Green to be successful. And when you drop back 27 times, and out of those 27 times, I can't believe it, there's like 17 or 19 pressures. And he was running like a jackrabbit, right? He was running out there. Let's put him on the perimeter, because you know how effective there's a 3rd and 15 that he went avoided. He had a great block downfield from receiver just coming in the way of him, and he knows how to read that field. Use it to your advantage. Use your strengths. How about this? How about going under center and then coming out and doing a bootleg? Or you can even do a pistol bootleg, right? Have the back behind you, you're in the pistol gun, and you fake it off, and then boom, you're out to the perimeter, man, and you're seeing what you got down the field, because now you can go 1-2. You have 2 reads, 1-2, and there's no offensive lineman in front of you. Or you can go ahead and you can do what? You can run. Put the defenders in conflict. I showed it to you before with the one time when he ran up to the line of scrimmage. What did he do? He dumped it off to the receiver at the last second, because the Penn State 2 defenders came up and was going to go attack him because he thought he was running the ball. I love that. Keep your eyes downfield. You saw Drew Alar in the pocket. He moved around. He was shifty. Moved around much better than what you would think of a 6'5", 245-pound quarterback. But he was shifty. He kind of reminded me of, Big Ben. Right? Because Big Ben, not the best of runners, you would say, but, man, you could not get him in that pocket. He just moved around, shifted here, moved his legs, moved his feet here, and he made the throw. That's what I want to see that a lot more, is don't just decide to run it and then boom, I'm running it. Move out of the pocket, and then see. Keep your eyes downfield because you never know what receiver is going to get open, especially for a runner like Garrett Green. And what else we got? We got anything else that sticks out to me on this? No interceptions, none of that. We need more defensive havoc. But again, that 6-2-2-2-1, yeah, that's not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. And Justin Jump Cut Johnson, was he hurt? I don't know. I forgot to ask about that this week. And then when we look here, and you just got to go with this, the tackles. Lee Colba dominating. And you know what's really cool? Those Trey Lathan, he had 6 tackles for a first-timer. Hey, that's not so bad, right? When I look at it, I see quarterback hurries, I only see 3. I didn't like that. I see only 2 quarterback pass breakups, right? That's got to get better this next game. See, what this game is here is a perfect tuning up game. You went against heavy hitters your first game, right? Now you're going to go against guys that if you to take lightly, they can hang around like anybody. Anything can happen. Just ask Appy State, Michigan, right? The worst can happen. But you got to take care of business. But you got to play to who you are. This is a perfect time for those DBs to challenge those receivers. This is a perfect time for that defensive line to really put pressure on that quarterback. Get your sacks, man. Get your quarterback hurries. Again, when they throw the ball, I think it was 30 sometimes, and you had 3 quarterback hurries. That's not good enough. And I think, you can see more quarterback hurries when it came time when they were putting pressure, at least not quarterback hurries, but pressures when they were running at least 4-man rushes. You put a 3-man rush up there, I hate it. It's just me, but I hate it. I hate it. I don't know. There we go. Let's keep moving on. Okay, just wanted to point this out real quick. Red zone scores, the Mountaineers were 2 for 2. Penn State was 4 for 5, 80%. Red zone touchdowns, though, they were 2 for 2, the Mountaineers, and they were 3 for 5. Those missed field goals were a problem for Penn State, and it could continue to be a problem and really bite them in the can down the road. You see PAT's attempts. The red zone, we'll keep an eye on that all season long, see how they're doing with that. But I think these stats are really important that you go ahead and you look at all this and you see it. I'm just doing this. If you want to come back and watch it, you can. 3rd down conversion, you're 4 for 14. They were 3 of 9. So WVU is 29%. Penn State was 33. Not much better, but you look at it, 3 for 6, 50% on 4th down. That needs to be better. You know what they need to do? They need to have better success on 1st down so that those 3rd and 4th won't be so far. Again, I said it. 1st down was going to be the key, and when they were able to run that ball and establish that run, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. When you look at special teams, kickoff return yards, 1 for 20, and I was pretty much the same. Punt return, 1 for 4. All right, that's and they got 0 for Penn State. All right, and they were 0 for 0. Excuse me. And then you have kickoff return average 2019. I'm just reading down the list here, just so you can see penalties. 5, although I will say, I thought that they seemed more disciplined. The Mountaineers did. Seemed more disciplined. And Penn State, you're in Happy Valley. We never got the calls. I don't ever remember getting the calls. Very few. Very, very few. Nothing's changed there. All right, so that's that. Very good. Okay, there we go. Let's go through there. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at this Duquesne lineup. Have we got anything questions here? Oh, anything, Joey, got there? All right. I don't see anything here. You don't get tackles at Penn State without playing as a team, so I am proud of the guys. They played hard and well. All right, I'll put your stuff up, Joey. There you go. Just so you can feel better about it and know that I'm saying it's cool. There you go. I'll just go through the list down here. And I got this this video is, I'm always going to tell you what the truth is. And so I have to, always just not lie, man, for lack of a better word. I'm just not going to lie. I'm just not going to blow smoke. All right. You guys can see all this. You're right here. I'm going to go ahead and try to continue on here and go down. But you guys are writing today, man. Woo. I'm trying to go through it. What's that? McAfee could honestly, I don't know. The Storm and Beckley, I made food service. I thought you lost at Beckley last week or yesterday. I think Timothy said he was there, that he lost it last week. But let's go ahead and take a look here at Duke's depth chart. And what I want to show you here with Duke, blow it up. All right, so you have a new quarterback here, and it's Paredes, and he was 7 of 13. All right, there's not a whole lot I can do here and show you this. All right, they have some older guys. Their defense is much more imposing. If you were here yesterday, you heard Tad Morey saying that the defense. I gotta get jellies there. Holy crap, Bob. All right, so I can see. There is Paredes. There you go. All right, so when you go down there and look at this defense, they have a lot more. They got 6 grads on there. They got some juniors. There's 2 redshirt sophomores, but that's it. All they have, they got juniors, or there's 1 sophomore, excuse me. All right, so you have that. They played at Florida State last year. They started out a little stronger. They missed a lot of tackles. I was going to show you film on them from the Florida State. I'm just like, why? It's not even some of the same players. I will say this. They have a running back that is Taj Butts. He's a transfer from Missouri. He had 10 rushes for over 100 yards. He's legit. That's a true running back. And, I think that they got some players in the Keyshawn Brown, DJ Powell receivers. But this is about Duquesne. This is about WVU. It's not about Duquesne. But I want you to see this here. This is their 2-deep depth chart. Hey, Big Red, why is there no 2-deep depth chart in the game notes for the WVU? I understand about Penn State the first week, but why is there not one the second? Get Big Red, Mike Montoro. What's up with that, dog? All right. We'll get after Mikey. Oh, yeah. Just giving him grief because he's always gave me grief. Always gave me grief. And last thing I want to do here, all right, is talk to you about the video here. Now, when I show you here this video, all right, this is just a couple of shots of the first 2 drives. And I think that they actually said a lot. I got you all 22 film here, and I just want you to see this and watch what you see here, all right? Now, Penn State, I think, was surprised by WVU and their running attack. I don't think they took them seriously enough to go ahead and do that. So let's take a look. You see C.J. Donaldson, check it out. Everybody's running over. Everybody's making a block. Pretty darn good. That's just right in the beginning of the game. That's first play. That's 9 yards. 9 yards, and they're pulling right here. The 2 linemen coming around. That's pretty good. That's Traylon Davis, the tight end tackle that they're pulling around. So that's really pretty solid right there. We got a big old Dougie. And let's see, the left guard there. Yep. There you go. All right. So, again, you started off 9 yards. You kind of surprised Penn State there. And, that whole defense that's supposed to be really vaunted. Now, look at this. This is what I think you heard Neil talk about, and this is what is the problem. You have to have accuracy at quarterback for Mountaineers to succeed. And Neil Brown said this is a layup. Well, right here is you can't just put that down there. And honestly, Brent, you should have caught the ball. Help your quarterback out and catch the ball. All right, better accuracy by the quarterback, better skills by your receiver there, all right? Just do it. And it's 2nd and 10. The same thing. I'll just do this one other time here. But, again, I understand that you're ready, you're getting the ball, you want to run, and you'll probably look away from it. But you got to execute. In big games, you got to execute. So let's go ahead and take a look right here. This is 3rd and 1. This is impressive. Watch this. You see it coming up. We'll get an end zone shot. Look at Brandon Yates up there, number 50. Look at Yates there, right? He's watch him here. Man, I haven't seen that out of him yet. Are you kidding me? Yeah, keep going there, Brandon Yates. Keep going, man. Keep trucking right here. And again, watch this. You see the left guard, Thomas Remack, he was pulling out to influence. And he just goes right on up. C.J. Donaldson. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Watch this here. You can see I love this shot right here. This is what you really see. This is the box. You know, my brother Ronnie, Pony Boy, always talked about the box. You know what the box is? It's like being in a backyard, or excuse me, not a backyard brawl. It's like being in a bar fight, right? Because that's the box right there. And it's just all right there. And it's just like a bar fight, man. If you ever been in one, you know what I'm talking about. That's what the box is here. And you can watch CJ Dowson go ahead and go up. And that's impressive. Look at Zach Frazier there. See that right here? Yeah, you know what that is? That's a twofer. That's a twofer. The linebacker blitzed, and CJ Dowson's up there. Look at Brandon Yates up there leading the way. Yeah, man. Impressive. Impressive. That's the first down right there. Look at this again. Coming out. Everybody, go attack them. Yeah, there you go. Attack them, and don't take their crap. Don't take crap at Penn State. There you go. You say we're West Virginia. That's right. We're tough. We're physical, and we're coming at you. We're going to punch you. And go ahead. It's 1st and 10. Again, look at this run. I mean, when you talk about, that's Jalen Anderson right there, right? Number 0. Got to get a new look at him. See it, but look at this. I like this personnel. Right here, you're going 12 personnel. That's Traylon Davis in motion. You got Cole Taylor down here at the bottom. All right, and you got, so basically it's 2x2 in a wing set. And you're running. Look at this. Bringing the 2 tight ends, running to that tight end strength. You got to like that. I thought that was a good play design, running design for the Mountaineers. Good job, Chad Scott, Neil Brown. I like that. I like what they did. A lot of times I didn't like what they did sometimes, for sure. All right, so again, now this is just a quarterback draw. I've never seen this one here before with him, right? Well, you know what? Not going to find a way out of that one. You know, it's okay. I don't mind the quarterback draw. We did with Major Harris. It didn't work out that time, but it's tight. So 2nd and 3, you still got the same thing. I don't know. It's not a bad time to call it, I guess. You know, maybe I always liked it like a 3rd and long. Nobody sees it here. That's a total design quarterback draw. Tomas Remak, the left guard, needs to be stronger in there. He needs to. Let me tell you, if the defender goes to the inside on a draw play, then you need to run him as far inside as you can, away from the quarterback. Quarterback's behind you. So if he goes to the inside, then run his butt that way so the quarterback can at least have a picture to see. That wasn't on Garrett Green right there. That was more on Thomas Remak for that. Again, that same thing that's going on. And just tough to get out when you got someone coming up the middle on a quarterback draw that's supposed to go up the middle. But go ahead. We'll just go ahead and look at this, and then you're going to see switch over Penn State to the defense. All right. Now, this is 1st and 10, just coming right off the ball. Kind of hit you hard there. Now, people are saying, well, you know, they gained 146 yards, same as the Mountaineers gained 146 yards. Well, he gave up 42 or 4.2 yards per rush. That's not great by a defense, right? I know everybody wants to say the defense is there, but I mean, poor Aubrey Burks, I'm sorry, number 2 there. That's Aubrey, yeah. He go ahead and he ran into the offensive lineman. You're not going to win that one, buddy. Not going to win right there. Check it out. Check out the blocking. There's no doubt this line is tough when they use the 2 tight ends, 12 personnel, and you just get a big body on you. That's tough. That's tough. So good game there. Now it's 1st and 10 again. Oh, they came back, sorry. Doing the same thing. Just trying to show you. I wanted you to see the blocking and defensive techniques on the way in. All right? Now, again, this is what they can do better in my mind. So I'm showing this to you and what they did good. All right, so you got cover 4 right here. Now they're going to switch. They're showing cover 4, as you can see here. Now he's got to come down. So they're moving more to a cover 3. And Aubrey Burks he's on a dead run for this right here with the running back. But unfortunately, he's going to miss him right there. But they're not going to get much. That's not a bad play. He at least makes him move, puts him out of his rhythm, puts him out of his route, if you will, his number 1 speed direction. So again, as he came in like a missile, but you're looking here at either man or cover 3, regardless. But you can see the direct hit. I like that, though. I'm going to tell you, Aubrey Burks, go be a missile. Go be a missile, man. That's what I want. I want to see more of what I saw with the Penn State DBs. They attacked. when they gave room in the break, it's not like they just kept backpedaling and slow to react. It's like West Virginia receivers stopped, they got a hitch, a 5-yard hitch, and turned around. You know, they're attacking, man, and that will show up. But that's what I want to see. I want to see more aggressiveness out of these DBs because you can't last in the Big 12 by giving them all this yardage. Look at this yardage over here towards the boundary up top. Right, you have 2 receivers. Okay, this is easy. You know what this is? This is just a screen, man. Look, it's a double screen on both sides. West Virginia was giving them, look at the space here. That's just giving them a free reign. Just give them a free reign. I mean, that's RPO right there, man. I mean, you know, watching the offensive line, let's check it out. They're blind. That's RPO. You know why they took that? Because look at the space right here. Look at the space right here. Do you see that? All right, there's so much space right there. That's a freebie. That's called Jake Spavital. Remember him? He used to call that junk yardage. He wasn't calling it junk. Gary Jennings took it all the time, and they loved it, and they used it. Just take the freebie. This is free. I don't like this, giving up so much, especially what are you going to do when you got to, you know, receivers that were top dogs? These were not come in flaunted receivers that they had great. I mean, they might be great because they're very good, but there's nothing to be. Look at that, 10 yards, and you got 2 receivers right there, 2 of them, and you got Jared Barton. It's free. That's nothing more than the quarterback looking at it and saying, RPO. That's all it is. I think you get the point. I'll let it run. Right there. Look at this. Oh, they got looks like 11 personnel going back for a pass. You know what? Not good, right? Not good. I think Aubrey would like to have that back. Again, it's, you know, it comes, but I want to say is, you know, Sean Martin, he's gonna be tough, man. He's going to be tough. Duck Riley, his grandfather's on the show, was on the show once, and he's just a great dude, David Duck Riley, and just a great dude, man. And this is him. You can see here, watch him come around there, 91. I mean, he's putting pressure. He just went ahead and worked through a combo block and then to the tight end, Theo Johnson, and, you know, forces it up. Now they made it. You got to have the other guys getting in there and filling up the lanes. But that's what I'm talking about, keeping your eyes downfield as you run up and step up in the pocket. That's what I want to see Garrett Green do more when possible. Again, all right, there's a combo. Yep, there you go. Not bad. Yep, all right. Very good. You know what? And that's what all I wanted to really show you about that with West Virginia. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Okay, the nitty-gritty is this, is that you went up to Penn State, and I'm talking about perspective is what I'm gathering from what I'm hearing from the players talk, from the coaches, Neil Brown, you know, saying they were successful in some areas they were not. All right, we're not going to go ahead and keep diving into that. What I am going to say is this, all right, is that you have to come out against the Duquesne Dukes, and now you have to play about yourself. Right? I think this team still has a ways to go in finding out who they really are. Who are they really? And I'm talking to Mountaineers. Who are they really? All right? When I say that, who are they really? Offensively, defensively. Are they a running team? Garrett Green, is he a drop back quarterback all the time? Is that who you really are? Just drop back in the pocket? Is there any chance? I mean, I see Drew Allar as a drop back pocket passer, but he was rolling out. He was rolling that. I mean, just change it up a little bit. Change it up a little bit. I really liked the run plays. I liked some of the way that the offensive line was pulling in the plays, and it looked to me like they're doing some really nice counters and leads and some split zones. And so I think that the run game is fine. I don't think the pass game is fine. I don't. And I'm going to keep saying it until you prove me wrong. And if you're going to sit there and you're going to pass the ball 30 times a game and you're going to go 30 times in the pocket, I just don't think that's a winning formula. It's just not it. And if you're going to be a secondary that's going to play 10 yards off the ball and not come down aggressively and break, or not even try to get some defenders to reroute receivers, all right, just to reroute, just get your hands on them, just step in front of them. Step in front of them so that they have to go sideways, because then the rhythm of that quarterback and that receiver might be off a little bit. It might be the few inches you need to make a play go good for you. Because I believe, I looked at those corners. They weren't afraid. They were playing. Well, why play off so much? Why? Get up there. I saw Penn State get up there on our receivers, and it wasn't so easy. I saw that happen. And I go back to the offense. I would say Cole Taylor, hot reads, 6'7". All right, the tight end, hot reads on a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7. All right, just boom, right out there, man. Throw it to the inside. Who knows? You might get a penalty with the safety on his back, because the safety's probably 5'11", maybe 6 foot, but he ain't 6'7". He ain't 6'7". You got to take advantage of your strengths. Even Traylon Davis is 6'4". Use that tight end for a strength and use it. So that's your it could be your number one target. I mean, when it's for hot reads, go ahead and you go back on defense, man. Like there's Lee Koba, he's 13 tackles, man, 13 tackles. The only problem I see with the defense is that they still don't cover all the gaps. They're not fundamentally gap sound, which could mean that Lee Koba is getting half those tackles on 5 yards or more down the field. I still see that defense. And if that's the way they're going to play it, then I'll just have to pull my hair out. And hopefully the Mountaineers will win, because I don't see that as a winning formula. I do not see this. If you don't challenge, if you don't cover your gaps, if you don't have outside contain, I think that's a real problem. I thought that Penn State did not have outside contain a lot. And that's why Garrett Green actually went ahead and did some good stuff. But I think teams are going to see that eventually is that, hey, stop the run, make Garrett throw against you, and have outside contain. Maybe have a spy right there in the middle of the field. All right, that's what you move the pocket. That's why you move the pocket, so they don't have the same angles, so they just can't tee up on you. Special teams. All right, so Mountaineers. Basically, this is it. And I'm going to have film next week about Pitt. I just did it with Duquesne. I didn't think it was really worth your time. Didn't know if it was worth my time to break it down. I want to go ahead and show you that Penn State, what you can do. The things you did good, I showed that. All week long, I showed that. What you did wrong, what you could do better. I showed that all week long, too, because the truth is always part of the call, right here on the WolfMan's Call. Right here on the WolfMan's Call. So it's Friday. Mountaineers, get after them. Don't slow down. Take it to them. I don't care if you beat them 65-0. Don't slow down. The second teamers will come in, the third teamers. All right, and then have them play just as hard. But this is your opportunity to find out, to begin to determine who you are as a team. Because I don't know if you're a 27 passes, a pocket passer, drop back team. I don't know if you're that. I don't know. Maybe you should include that read zone more. And when they scored a touchdown where you're so clear, maybe you should include that more. I don't know. Maybe you should go ahead and do some, cross patterns, right? Where it conflicts with the secondary, where you get them confused and one, get a little rub. It's not a pick. It's a rub, right? There's so many things you can do to help out a quarterback instead of just dropping him back and saying, here. And then 2 seconds. I mean, it was against a vaunted Penn State defense that you knew was going to be rushing hard. You knew it. They were going to be rushing hard. So I'll leave it at that. But that's what you got to do. Push the pedal to the floor. Put the pedal to the floor. Don't give Duquesne a chance. Don't give them. Have fun. And then you can watch your buddies go out there. The guys on second, third team. When you go out there and you just polarize them, just They're like, yeah, and then you have fun, man. And then that Saturday night, where you're just chilling out there, hanging at the crib or somebody else's house, and hanging out and you're with your pals, you're talking about it, you're laughing. And that's where you build camaraderie. And that's where you build the trust and belief in each other. When you see it in the film and everybody has to play, that's what this game is for. Everybody to play and show what they got. Everybody to feel like they're part of a team. Trust me, these games go so much farther than just playing an FCS team. This is a game where you want to get as many players to play in a rep so they all feel like they're part of the team. So you can build that camaraderie. So they're there to support. So those 2s and 3s are there to support number 1. They're there to support because you know what, they got their share too. So it's okay. And everybody, is really going in the same direction as one. That's what you want to do. So that's why it's so important. Don't stub your toe, because this guy here, Jerry Schmidt, he's been coaching a long time. And he's not going to come in with an undisciplined team, I don't think. I don't think he will. And they had 5 turnovers for the first quarter against the Fighting Scots of Edinburgh. All right, I know I said that. I love the Fighting Scots of Edinburgh. All right, but they have 4. So they're a team that really tries to take advantage of turnovers. And that defense is the strength of that team. So break those tackles, man. Tackle those wide receivers. Tackle those running backs. Tackle Parrott, what his name is, Parrott, the quarterback, because he's a dual threat quarterback. And there's nothing that team, Duquesne, does that has not been shown before in football. Right? It's the same thing. And you can go ahead and go out there and put the pedal to the floor so that you can feel good about yourself, so you know the direction you want to go, so you know who you are, because you know why? Because next week, it's Pitt, and it's the backyard brawl. And you want to know who you are going into that game. You don't want to be thinking about this Duquesne game on Sunday. That's good. Saturday night, yeah, you're thinking about it, you're having fun, and you're slapping high fives with your brothers. Yeah, that's good. And then on Sunday, you're there for Pitt. Pitt. And it means a lot. Pitt. 4-letter word, man. So that's what it is. So again, on Sunday, you're not thinking about Duquesne. You're thinking about Pitt. But on Saturday night, celebrate. Celebrate, because when you go ahead and you pound a Duquesne team, as you should pound a Duquesne team, that's good stuff. And that's good mojo for the next figuring out who you are. Who are you, Mountaineers? I know who you want to be. You want to be winners. But who are you to be those winners? What formula are you using to be those winners? And I think the coaches and the players all need to figure that out. And once they do, then I think you got a shot at having success. I really, really do. I think you have a shot at having success if you can come together, if you can figure out a few things that are different that I saw Saturday night against Penn State. I think you have a shot for being successful. And if you don't, well, I guess time will only tell, and we'll know if I'm right or I'm wrong. But I will say this. I'm only saying what I think and what I feel, because the Wolfman's call, the truth is always part of the call, at least to me. And that being that, I hope you guys all enjoyed. And ladies, if there's any ladies out there, I hope you enjoyed everything I brought here on this game breakdown. I didn't know I was going to be doing these. But again, we want to thank Mark Plants. Remember the former fullback, Mark Plants, and Kevin P. Davis. They're both law attorneys here in Charleston. And they're supporting here the Wolfman's call. I really appreciate them. I love it, man. And, Parmar Stores, what a great sponsor they are. And Buzz Balls, go ahead. You get that Parmar Stores, they sell them right in Parmar Stores. And, of course, what else we got? We got a whole bunch of stuff. We got Paul Mini Batteries. We got Arson Grange Company, Switch the Dip, from the nicotine, no tobacco, right to the hemp dip. It's beautiful. Johnny and Meg, they're total Mountaineers in North Carolina running that. And Just a lot of good things. A lot of, you know what? And Cover 2 data is www.cover2data.com. Jeff Davies, man, the dude is cool. I mean, he may be a data nut, but when he sits there and he says that this data right here is telling you all these games and over or under or the spread, who he wants to take, hey, that's up to you to make that call. I make the WolfMan's call. I do it for myself. But, boy, I tell you, it's got to be helpful. You got to be every Friday. He's going to be here every Friday. At least I hope so. Or he's going to give me the information regardless, because what they're doing is so different, so unique, and there's not another place like it. So that's pretty cool. Is there anything else here? Let me see here. WVU in a Pitt Bowl game needs to happen. WVU versus Pitt, come on. Come on, man. In a Pitt Bowl game. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I want to see it every year. I want to see a Pitt game every year, man. What do you got here? Oh, who do we got? Timothy Green. I'd like to see you guys win the ACC. I'd like to see WVU win the Big 12 and be up there bowl. All right. I'm going the wrong way here, obviously. Let's see. Hey, Wolfman, love the staying power. All right, what is that? Staying on what? And what was the trophy you guys had? Well, I'll tell you, I'm missing the whole beat here, man. Joey gets on here, he screws up everything. I can't follow everything. He just goes and talks as fast as he can. All right. Well, wait a minute, now Yvette's on here? What's up, Yvette? How are you doing? All right, I love having Yvette on the show. In a WU context, very flawed, but Oklahoma State quarterback play, their opening win by two of the quarterbacks is pretty good over FCS Arkansas. All right. Don't you just love college football? Yes, I do. Best thing ever. So tired. There we go. As a retired West Virginia underground coal miner, it is basically what I live for in the fall every year. Well, good for you, man. I'm glad you made it out good and safe, and that's cool. All right. I think it's about time for me to roll. Anybody want to make a pick? Anybody want to tell me what the point spread? I'll tell you what the score is going to be. I'm not usually big on predicting scores because I always suck at it anyways. But I know who's going to win, usually. But what I will tell you this is I'm going to say this. I want to go. I feel good about WVU. I feel good. I think they're going to do things differently this week. I really do. I'm believing that Neil heard me, man, that he heard me. That's right. But he also knows. He knows the bottom line, and he knows what I'm talking about. And I say that the DBs can't just give up 3 yards like that. You just can't give up 3. It was a first-time starter. Drew Lars going to be a real deal quarterback. But 3, I mean, anyone could do that. If you're going to give them the room, it's called RPO, run pass option. And if you're going to be back so far and you're not going to put the numbers out there to defend it. I mean, I showed you this week when they did put the numbers out, that trio, that bunch trio wide, when they run the 2 tight ends and the receiver, and they went ahead and they threw it at the one time when they played it way off. They got over 10 yards. And then another time I showed it where they went tight on it. They went tight and they defended that bunch trio tight. And what did they do? They threw it to the other side of the field. It's all about what you give them. So don't give them those 3 yards. Challenge them. I'm begging you. Defense, challenge. Sometimes you got to give up 6 points when you're challenging. Sometimes you get beat in man coverage. Sometimes you get beat. But it's like a slow death. Just a knife going slicing you up. Slow death. When you go ahead and just you're dying. It's like there's 100 slashes, but you're going to die at the end of the game. We're not going to give you one big dagger, but we'll just give you a slash 100 times. That's what it's like playing that. It's mind-boggling insanity. It's like going to the 2-minute defense when there's 6 minutes left. It's mind-boggling. Play what you do. Don't be afraid to lose, and show your defensive backs you trust them. You don't have to go bonsai and then go up there and go press coverage on every play. But you do have to challenge, and you have to maneuver around. So it's just not so freaking easy every single time. It's like offense. Change it up. You don't have to sprint out every play. Just sprint out once in a while. Keep them honest. Keep them honest. I think I'm losing my mind, my voice. It's been a tough week. All right. Since nobody else has got anything else to say, 55-17, Mountaineers over Duquesne. All right. I'm definitely losing my mind. I'm ready. I am ready for football this weekend. I'll tell you what, that covered 2 data, man, that was good stuff. And he was on the line last week, man. He was on the line. All right. We're at Cantrell's in Hinton, West Virginia, River City, Grille and Pub. Man, love you. Oh, it's beautiful down there. Calacino's down in Beckley, West Virginia. It's Pizzeria and Sports Bar. Thank you for being part of the network. Route 22 Sports Bar right up there in Weirton, West Virginia. Man, I tell you, 12 50-inch screen TVs. It looks so cool to me. Then you got Archies up there at East Carson Street, right in the heart of the enemy, man. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then you have Kegler Sports Bar right there in Morgantown. You know that's hopping this whole weekend, man. Jerry, Greg, Steve, and Dougie. Danny's all the way down from Morgantown all the way down to Bluefield, man. Part of the WolfMan's Call Network. And Paige down there, Danny's. What's up? Danny's Bar. And how about this? Jimmy Pointer. We got Jimbo's in Elkins, Jimbo's in Buckhannon. So nice they did it twice. You got Mel at the Tap House, the Mountaineer Tap House, right there in the heart of Morgantown, right in the heart of the students. Hope it was a great Country Roads Trust student watch last week, Mel. Mountaineer Tap House right there on Oakland Street. Pitch down in Dunbar, West Virginia. Boy, what a place. It was so cool, the restaurant and all the park behind it, all the football fields, the soccer fields, all the sporting events. It was so cool. I went in there and checked it out myself. You got Bridgeport. You got the Brickside Bar and Grille. Rob Davis. Love it, man. I got 30 different beers on tap. And I'm trying to think, did I forget? Oh, we got Steve Reese, Mason Jar, Barbecue and More. Mason Jar, Barbecue and More. Steve Reese, and I know he's got some things going on at the stadium this weekend. And you got the Pallet Bar. What a great pregame we had against Penn State down there. Haley, thank you for everything. Appreciate all you guys. And then at the Legends Sports Bar and Grill out at Cheat Lake, right there in Cheat Lake, West Virginia, out there at Lakeview Resort. All right, that's it for that. And it is amazing that I tell you, I go on fire, man, on fire. And what else we have here? I think it's time to close it off with, how about this? How about close it off with Zach Frazier, who you know is the best center in the country. By far. Anyone wants to go ahead? I got film. I'll show you a film from when he's a sophomore. So now, freshman too. I'll show you a film when he's a freshman. When he went and played, he started left guard, went to center, and then, or right guard, center, and then right guard. He was a true freshman. He did in the same game. I knew he was going to be special then. Best center in the country. Let me see here. Anything else? I love this channel. Oh, here we go. I love this channel. All right. Because the Wolfman, he's straight up and honest and very passionate about WVU football. Well, Timothy, that's very cool. And I'm ready for ZF, man. Thank you very much. How about this? What's up? Zach Frazier.
Hi, I'm Zach Frazier from Fairmont, and when I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Parmar store.
We have that gold and blue pride at your local Parmar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more, we are gold and blue proud, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Buzzballs, ready-to-drink cocktails. #1 single-serve premix brand in the U.S. Buzzballs, have a ball. Stationers, #1 office supplier in West Virginia. Always in stock. All many, the anywhere, anytime chargers, powering a connected world. Never buy AA batteries again. Rechargeable 500 times. Plus, Paul Mini AA USB lithium battery. As easy to charge as your cell phone. Sustainable energy. Stay charged. Go green. Save green. Feel the power of Paul. Order now at paulmini.com.
West Virginia United.